Hello! Welcome to this week's video. For this week, I am doing my wrap-up for the month of June. Um, just a few books, two that I enjoyed, and one DNF. Um, I'm going to talk about those and give you a little peek at what I'm reading now. First, we'll just start with the DNF because that'll be quicker. Sadly, it was Donna Schaff's Priceless. And this was a historical romance, and no, like, there wasn't really any negative reason or so that I DNF'd it. It just didn't grab me. I gave it like a few chapters, and it just didn't work for me. Now, for the next book, these are both that I finished. One I enjoyed very much, one I absolutely loved. We'll talk about the one that I enjoyed very much, and that was V.C. Andrews' Christopher's Diary, Secrets of Foxworth. Now, the thing that I know about in this book didn't happen in this book, and that's when I discovered that this is the first book in a sort of spin-off series from the Flowers in the Attic books. I thought this was a standalone, and that the thing that happens that left everybody in like a hullabaloo was in this book. It's not. But getting into it, we have Kristen Masterwood, and she is distantly related to the Foxworths through her mother. Not exactly sure how, but because I don't think that they go into specifically like how, like, is it like through an uncle, an aunt, or like what, how is the connection? I'm not exactly sure, but we learned that Kristen is related to the Foxworths, and her mother sadly has passed away recently, though, not that long ago at all, and so her father is raising her, and her father is into construction or an architect of some kind, and her father's construction company is hired to inspect the Foxworth property, which burnt down. The second time was, I believe, when Bart, crazy Bart, burnt it down. And he's, at the end of, what was it, Seeds of Yesterday, he goes off with what's-her-face, Cindy, to become an evangelist. So Foxworth Hall burnt down, and so they're in, or well, it caught on fire. I don't know like how much of it is like destroyed exactly, but like the bones of it are still there, I guess. So Kristen goes along with her father one day when he's going to like visit the property, and she finds a little something. She finds a little diary. Whose diary? Dude's diary. My dude, Christopher. That apparently he wrote and was never referred to in any of the Flowers in the Attic books. We'll go with it. It's fine. And her father finds out that she found it, and she gets very immersed in it, and he is kind of like worried that she might get too attached to it and let it sort of consume her. And it's sort of like, it's just sort of what we know about the story of the kids in the attic, and sort of the years sort of leading up to that, and like the years sort of in the attic, but sort of just more expanded, um, which was nice. I really liked that. I really liked sort of getting that sort of expanded look. Um, it's sort of like watching a TV show about something and then like reading the book about it, and you just get more. You just get more, and it's sort of like the Flowers in the Attic are their own books, but then with this, you just sort of get more. Um, and so she's keeping like this secret that she has this diary, and it's only her and her father that know at this point. But she falls in love with a guy named Kane. Is his name Kane? Like she keeps the secret like from her friends, and she's like trying to keep it from like everybody. But I think his name is Kane. Yeah. Um, and she, grows closer with him, and then she starts to think maybe I can tell him what I found. And as soon as her mind starts turning that way, I'm like, girl, no, bitch, no. Do not do this. No. Because I'm just like, no, no good can come from other people knowing. Like, I don't know what is going to happen, but her father was very sort of adamant, like, promise me that you won't tell anybody. And she's like, yeah, I promise. She's like a teenager, so. Um, and, but then she's sort of like, she has these feelings for this boy, and, they're growing closer, and she's like, maybe I could tell him. And I'm just like, oh, no, 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 no. No good is going to come from this. But she tells him. And he seems very intrigued by it, of course. Um, and then, like, she tells him, like, towards the end. And he's very interested and sort of, well, to be fair, she doesn't come out and tell him until she accidentally leaves the diary open on her bed. Girls, have we not learned by now? No good can come from this. This happened with Joey and Dawson, and that pretty much spelled the end of their relationship. I mean, true, he also was forced to turn in her drug-dealing father, but the diary was part of it too. But left the door open for Pacey to come in and sweep her off her feet. So we're not mad about it. But in here, Kristen leaves the diary open on her bed, and Kane finds it and, wants to know, like, what it is, and she tells him what it is, and he's, like, very, like, intrigued by it, as, like, of course, anyone would be. And he, like, promises that he's not going to tell anybody, and it'll just be their little secret. But then towards the end, like, in my opinion, it got a little weird. Because Kane is sort of insisting that they read the diary together and kind of act out the parts of Chris and Kathy to sort of understand the story better. And that's just got me all kinds of wrong. Like, I don't... It could be just me overanalyzing and having read too many V.C. Andrews books and just, books in general. But I'm getting a very bad feeling about Kane wanting to sort of take on this story as personally as he wants to. I don't know. I'm getting the bad feelings. So I really enjoyed this, but it did not have the thing that everybody talks about, that it has like such, that everybody's in uproar about. It didn't happen here. So that's when I figured out I figured, oh, there must be another book because it didn't happen here. And we haven't finished reading Christopher's diary. So I looked it up, and yeah, there's more. There's at least one other book. I don't know if there's more, but I know there's at least one other book. And I don't have it. So that annoys me. If I'd known that this was part of a series, I would have waited to make sure that I got the other book as well. But I didn't know that the thing didn't happen here. So, but either way, for like just the first book, I don't know how I'm going to react to the thing. Even knowing what the thing is, I'm willing to like wait and see how it's explained and what the fallout of it is before I get into the typical internet hullabaloo that happens when like the internet people lose their shit. Because invariably, I usually don't end up thinking it's that big a deal. Whenever internet people lose their minds over something, I end up either liking the thing that they're pissed off about or not thinking it's that big of a deal. In the sense that like it was handled like really well. So I don't mind it. I'm willing to wait and see. I'm willing to wait and see because I know my own brain. So we'll sort of see how this goes. The book that I loved this book so much. It is a Harlequin super romance called Family at Stake by Molly O'Keefe. Now, I enjoy Harlequins. And every once in a while, one will just grab me by the heart and just work for me so well. The last time that I loved a Harlequin this much, it's on my keeper shelf, and it's a Royal World Apart or something like that. I don't see it to hand. Oh, wait. Let me see. Yep. I have two actually on there, which surprised me because I forgot about this one. But the one that definitely like grabbed me and earned its place on my keeper shelf is A Royal World Apart by Macy Yates. I adored this book so very much. And then most recently was Alessandro's Prize by Helen Bianchen. And I liked this one, like got me just because he was an alpha, but he wasn't the typical Harlequin Presents alpha hole. I loved their friendship in this book, which is like that's not usually why I adore Harlequin Presents, because Harlequin Presents, they are so inappropriate and crazy sauce and melodramatic, and that's what I love about them. But this one worked for me because of the friendship between the hero and the heroine. And so these are the two, I believe, that I think these are the only two that have earned their place on my keeper shelf. Number 3. And it's not a Harlequin Presents, it's a Harlequin super romance. This is the story of Mac and his daughter Amanda and Max's ex-girlfriend Rachel. Now Rachel and Mac were childhood sweethearts, and they fell in love when they were teenagers, and Rachel grew up in this terrible, bad, no good, abusive environment. And so as soon as she graduated high school, the first thing she did, apart from Mac, was get the hell out of there. So on the night before she left, she wanted to, her goodbye to Mac was that they lost their virginity to each other. I believe. Um, and she essentially broke his heart because he thought that because that they were doing this, that they were like making love to each other for the first time, that it meant that she was going to stay and be with him forever, not knowing that that was actually her goodbye. So he ends up getting this other woman pregnant, or this other girl pregnant, and um, they have this, they get married and they have this daughter, Amanda. And Amanda is around 13 when the story sort of starts, or when we get to like there in the plot of the story. And she has some issues. And Mac thinks that it's like grief over that because the woman that he ended up marrying, Amanda's mother, ends up dying in a car accident. So he thinks that Amanda is like grieving her mother, which in a sense she is. Um, and but things are like so bad in the home that social services is involved and is threatening to take away Amanda from Mac. Rachel has become a social worker because I guess she wanted to help kids like her in ways that she wasn't helped. And she gets assigned to Mac's case. Conflict of interest? We don't know her. We don't know her. It don't matter in Harlequin world. It matters, but for now, we just go with it. So, obviously, Mac is a little upset at seeing Rachel again and knowing that she is the social worker that is potentially going to be involved in taking his daughter away from him. But Amanda and Rachel develop this rapport, and Amanda ends up really sort of opening up to Rachel. Now, when we learn what the secret is that Rachel's been keeping, I thought it was a bit of a cop-out. Because the secret that Rachel's been keeping is not something that happened to her, but something that happened to a friend of hers. And put a pin in that. So, and then we also have Rachel and Mac and their sort of relationship. The old feelings are, of course, still there. And, but Mac is trying to like fight them because he doesn't want to be hurt again. And Rachel is trying to fight them because conflict of interest. And she could like lose her job, and like she doesn't want to open up her heart. Like she's, you know, she's still this closed off girl. But she has this sort of like reunion with her mother that I thought was way too quick. I wanted it to sort of go deeper. And then it did. So, about like 2/3 into the third act, it sort of begins with what you think is the secret and Rachel's sort of reunion with her mother not being what I wanted. The last third of this book fixed all that. Fixed all that like, wow. We learn that the secret that Amanda has been keeping is sort of like what happened to a friend. But there's also a deeper secret that she'd been keeping involving her mother and the car accident that killed her mother. I don't want to spoil that because I thought it was a lovely reveal. Like, lovely in the sense of, like, I was very satisfied that that made sense with the broken, hurt girl that we have been following throughout the whole story. If it had just been her keeping the secret of what happened to her friend, that wasn't enough to me to justify her anger and her hurt and her behavior. Because, like, yeah, keeping a secret for your friend is hard, but it doesn't wreck your soul the way that what you actually learn is going on will wreck your soul. And I just wanted to hug Amanda. So I was very, very happy with that turn of events. And then we get Rachel and her mother actually having an in-depth conversation about the abuse that Rachel suffered in the home, the abuse that the mother suffered in the home, and the anger that Rachel had towards her mother. And it was just so well done. Trigger warnings up the wazoo for this book. Let me just tell you right now. Trigger warnings up the wazoo. Domestic violence, child abuse, everything. All the things. But I thought this was so well done. Because it's like, the beginning of the third act happens, and you're kind of like, oh, it was going so well. And it's like, this is the reason, and like, this is what, and that's it. That's all she says to her mother, and then Molly O'Keefe is like, hold my beer. Hold my motherfracking beer. It was so good. I cannot recommend this book enough. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Definitely going onto my keeper shelf with my other two Harlequins. Because, again, I enjoy Harlequins very, very much. But there's sort of I can read them and, like, let them go. Every once in a while, there is a story that grabs me by the heart or just leaves such a good sort of impression on me that I have to keep it. I have to keep it for myself. So that was most definitely Family at Stake by Molly O'Keefe. Read this book. Read this book. Oh my God, it was so good. And of course, Rachel and Mac end up together, and it's all fine. She loses her job a little bit, but it's okay. So what am I reading now? For my classic, I am almost halfway through Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I am very much enjoying it so far. Miss Havisham scares me. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I'm not quite halfway there, but I have started reading Daniel Silva's The Order. I'm about that much in. It's sort of Steve Barry, Dan Brown, conspiracy, religious mysteries, and I eat that shit up. Absolutely loved it. Love it so far. And it is, yeah, that's his name, Gabriel. He what is he? Yeah, he's a spy and like art guy, and he is being asked by a cardinal friend of his, archbishop friend of his, to investigate the death of the Pope, because it's not kosher. If we're gonna be mixing religions right now, religious metaphors, but something ain't kosher in the death of the Pope. So Gabriel is sort of investigating that. I love sort of that sort of genre of book. Religious mysteries, religious sort of horror. Those two are my favorite sort of like mystery and sort of horror kind of subgenres of those genres. Now I'm sort of branching out a little bit with Karen Slaughter, after I absolutely adored her book, Pieces of Her. So in mystery, I'm sort of family secrets, that kind of stuff I absolutely love. And so I'm sort of dipping my toe a little bit in like her books. But this is what I'm reading right now. I'm reading The Order by Daniel Silva. So I guess that's going to be it for this week's video. Let me know if you read any of the books that I'm talking about or I mentioned, and what you thought of them. And yeah, I guess that's going to be it for this week's video. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/authorejamie. Like my Facebook page at facebook.com/authorejamie, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!